Welcome back to Random Quest New Horizons. I'm dear darling. As you can see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where we can see it's a rainy day, which we haven't had for quite a while, and we also got Kix visiting, so we already know who our visitor is. And finally, I suppose I can start talking about the Pokemon announcements which happened a couple of days ago. If you're a Pokemon fan, you probably know about it, so there's no need to like really spoiler tag. I haven't really looked much into it in the first place, but if you don't know, there's a Pokemon announcement. It's not a Pokemon Direct. It was a Pokemon Showcase or something on Sunday. I think for me, and I can't remember what time it was at, like 9 p.m. or something. Or maybe it was like 5 p.m. I can't remember. Where a new Pokemon game was announced. But anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhollow, it's 4:29 p.m. on Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. So 1st of March, I was going to say the Ides of March, but that's not true. Anyway, have a fun day out there. Yeah, a new Pokemon game was announced, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, a new one in the in the main installment of the series, to follow on from Pokemon Sword and Shield. And you might be like, hey dear, are you a huge Pokemon fan? I'm like I'd say a reasonable Pokemon fan. I'm not going to be like I'm the biggest Pokemon fan in the world, that's just like clearly false. But I do enjoy it. At least I enjoy it as a franchise, and the concept of having like these like pet creatures or something which join you in like an adventure and that sort of thing. What do I think of the main series of the Pokemon games? They're okay, I would say. My dear, like a cheap candle, the snow is melting fast, replaced by flowers and plants. Lovely flowers and plants. Spring sure knows how to make an entrance, so you can play the melting game, Mum. Yeah, I like it. I like them to a certain extent, but I do know they have their flaws, and there's some parts I don't like. And you know, I'm not going to be like all the ones of the previous game were definitely better or anything. So I'm not sure if necessarily that's true, but there are things I do like from the previous game better. Let us buy this, and a square shoulder bag is quite nice. We might actually use that instead of I like a white one, instead of a black one. But we'll buy it anyway. We need to withdraw some more bells from our APD so we can actually have something to work with. Yeah, the Pokemon main series certainly has its own faults. I started, well actually technically the very, very first one I played was Pokemon Silver for the Game Boy. It wasn't mine, it was my sister's, which, well, I didn't really understand what I was doing, so, you know, whatever. But that, you know, sort of sparked off a little bit of enjoyment of a Pokemon. And the first one I probably owned for myself was Pokemon Platinum. And I'm sure a lot of you listening to this will be like, what? You started so late, I suppose, compared to everyone else. And, you know, then I'd say it's never too late to start doing something you enjoy. To be perfectly honest, you can take whatever time you need to get to that point. But yeah, but Pokemon Platinum is because it was on DS, and I had DS at that time. I didn't start with Pokemon Emerald or Generation 3. I don't really know why I didn't. I kind of didn't do much of a Game Boy playing. I got a DS radio. Actually, I'm not really sure why I didn't start with Generation 3, because I did have a Game Boy and I played games on it. I guess I didn't really buy as many games of a Game Boy. I bought actually Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Actually, might have been before Pokemon Platinum. I can't remember. I bought that for a Game Boy. Anyway, I just bought it because I used to go to a store called Game, and I used to like buy a game like every like 3 months or so, just to play or something. Maybe not 3 months. I don't really remember the time frame. And so I had fond memories of Platinum, and then I played Heart Gold, and Heart Gold is often what people say to be one of the better ones in the main installment series. And I do agree, because I think it was quite fun going through 2 different regions. There's certainly good and bad things, I suppose, about the odd sort of games. And then, you know, I played every installment. And I actually quite like Black and White because it was quite a story-driven game from what I recall. And I thought it was quite interesting, and it intrigued me that way, rather than it sort of just being like a generic, oh, here's the villains, and here's, you know, you just get the HM badges. How much money do we have? We need to get more money. Hold on. Let's go to the ABD and actually withdraw some money. What was after Black and White? X and Y? X and Y was alright. I'll certainly say it's fine. I took like a long pause on a game where like it happens a lot of time in the Pokemon games. It's happening right now to Pokemon Sword, I suppose. It's like I play it for a while, and then at some point I just get bored. I'm just like I'm bored of this, and then I start playing something else, and then I'll come back to a Pokemon game like years down the line or something and actually finish it off. That's what happened with Pokemon like X and Y. Like I got up to like the second last gym or something, and I just like stopped, and I came back to it. Or maybe it was just before A levels. Not A levels, just before the Elite Four. I don't think it was around the A level time for me. I think it was a bit after A level time. Can I think about it? But yeah, I just kind of like stopped and was like, you know what? I'll come back to this another time. I mean, I did. I came back to it, and yeah, I thought it was fine. Sun and Moon. I don't think I've actually finished. Same with Black 2 and White 2. I've got Black 2, and I just never finished it. I don't know why I didn't finish it. I guess because it wasn't like definite enough on Pokemon Black for me to be like, all right, I didn't do it. And Pokemon Black and White was actually one of my favourites, so much so that I actually bought both Pokemon Black and Pokemon White and beat them both, because I don't know, it's a rare installment, rare time where I actually bought both of them, which is not really what you're recommended to do. Normally what you do is you buy one and then your friend buys the other one, which is often what I kind of do with one of my friends, and I assume we're going to be doing the same with a Scarlet and Violet, which is coming up. So yeah, I like them. I like basically seeing all the new Pokemon. Like, and I know there's definitely some sort of like ongoing. What's the word? Some people are very hold tightly the simplistic designs, I suppose, of Generation 1. Lord Rose is superior, and you know, I don't really take that sort of angle. I'm like, there's designs I like in Generation 1, there's designs I like in Generation 8, and that sort of thing. There's a huge sort of spectrum, depends what you're going for, and I'm hesitant to say one generation is strictly better than the other one, because I think a lot of it is baked in nostalgia. The ones that I played earlier on, other ones I like the most. But it also, you know, depends with what happens around the time, like what sort of stories and what sort of experiences I have around the time when I'm playing it, like interesting things that happen which make me like it or dislike it more. So yeah, Pokemon Sword and Shield definitely most contentious, I suppose, in the recent ones. I think I even talked about it when it was first announced a while back. Of course, if you didn't know, that was a big game where what do they call it? Pokédex it, that was it. Where basically so many Pokemon weren't allowed in Pokemon Sword and Shield because there was, like, you know, too many Pokemon. At the time, I was just like, it doesn't actually affect me, but I can see how people are upset by it. But now, you know, as the times have passed, I'm like, I think it makes sense. To be fair, I think I did realise it made sense back then. It was just sort of like, it seems a bit of a shame because it does seem to sort of go against not the antithesis of Pokemon. It goes against the sort of the big motto of got to catch them all. And I was, you know, I did raise an eyebrow at the reasoning being that it was because they couldn't update all the models or something when they updated all the models for X and Y, which I thought was the whole point in the first place. But definitely, I have my things I don't love about Sword and Shield. Its story is like not the greatest. Like it's okay. Hop is your like rival character. He's fine, I guess. I don't really remember anything about him. Beady is the other one. I also don't remember anything about him. The gyms are okay. They're passable. I like quite a lot of the designs. Like, I think the cities actually look quite nice in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Wild area looks meh. But I will say certainly Pokemon is not known for its amazing sort of graphics or anything or breathtaking. I often like it much more for its creative design elements it's got going on, and I really love, like, I forget, it's the Fairy City or something in Pokemon Sword. That is certainly one of my favourites. The Wild Area is okay. It's like, I didn't really care about it that much, and then I saw it and I was like, oh, you know, it's that interesting sort of diversion, and it was really fun to go through it for once, but then, you know, I kind of got bored of it. It wasn't interesting enough, I suppose, to capture me. But I really like a lot of Pokemon in Pokemon Sword and Shield, and, you know, I have like a rotating team of like 18 Pokemon, which I used throughout the game. What else? Yeah, the Dexit thing is sort of like my biggest gripe with the Dexit thing is that there's no like central game where you can have all the Pokemon. You know, like in previous versions you had like the Pokemon barn. I can't remember what it's called, where you like raise a Pokemon up on a barn or something like that. And later on you had like Pokemon Home, where you can like upload all your Pokemon. There needs to be like some sort of central system like Pokemon Home, which they're shutting down apparently later, or is it Pokemon Bank? I forget. One of them they're shutting down, the one where you can actually use to transfer them. I forget the difference between them. But I feel like there should be some sort of central game, like for every console that comes out for Pokemon, where you can actually just like have all your Pokemon and just like they can just be there. I mean, you can take the ones you want on the journey. That way would feel a lot more, not just justified, but it feel like it makes more sense. If it's one central game where they don't battle or anything, it's just like they hang out. Maybe you can do some other stuff where it's basically just sort of like a storage place for your Pokemon. And then the main games, only certain Pokemon can come to it. I mean, if you want to bring some of your other Pokemon along, you can get them out from the bank and take them on that adventure, and then you can return them, I suppose, once you have it, end up that journey and that sort of thing. That's how, like, you know, the Pokemon Ranch sort of thing. I think that's what it's called in the Wii. But they have an anime where, like, Ash often just leaves their Pokemon from his previous generations there and they're looked after by some other sort of professor. That's what I particularly would want. I don't really mind that new Pokemon can't go to... that a lot of old Pokemon will not be included in, like, future games or that sort of thing. That doesn't bother me because I always play... Not always since the beginning of time, but certainly since from Black and White, I think. I've always... Maybe even before that. I've only played using new Pokemon from that generation. So it doesn't actually bother me that much. But I understand why people are sort of upset about that sort of thing. But, you know, I don't think it's feasible to get like 1,000 Pokemon into one game every single time. It's going to massively inflate file size and that sort of thing. And a lot of it's just probably not worth it. But there really should be some sort of central game, some sort of like hub, I think, which I will check. Is it Pokemon? I think it's Pokemon Bank, which is shut down. I don't know what Pokemon Home is. Oh, apparently it's not St. George's, St. David's Day. That's it. According to the Google Doodle. So Pokemon Home. Which one's Pokemon Home? Yeah, Pokemon Home is a cloud service. Which one is shutting down? Is it Pokemon Home shutting down? Pokemon Bank won't be shutting down. This will be because Pokemon Bank will be free after the closure happens. Oh. You can't use your credit card on Wii or 3DS shops. What? Wait, which one's Pokemon Home? Pokemon Home is an app. I think I'm getting Pokemon Home and Pokemon... Oh, Sword and Shield. Okay, Pokemon Bank is what you use on the DS to access Pokemon Home, and then... Okay, so Pokemon Home is the kind of a hub thing. Oh, okay, you know. I thought this was shutting down, so I retract my statement. But this was my main annoyance, I suppose, I think, with Dexit, like, theory. And I don't actually have a problem with Dexit, I suppose, but it was just like, I see why people are upset. There's no sort of central thing. Pokemon Home is a central thing, so I retract everything. I say, I'm just completely wrong with that sort of thing. I've never actually used Pokemon Home, to be perfectly honest. Because I tend to like keeping my main team on the actual game itself, because, you know, that's what makes sense to me, because if I want to go back to the game, I kind of need a team to actually work with. I don't care about transferring them forward, but maybe at some point I would like to transfer more forward. And if it's very simple, I suppose, to transfer back and forth between Pokemon Home, maybe I would do it more often. I don't know. But anyway, so all this dilly dallying to finally get around to a point about Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet are the new Pokemon games being released, following on from Pokemon Sword and Shield, which is like, we're going back to colour naming conventions. I'm not sure about the significance of Scarlet and Violet, particularly. They aren't really like a dichotomy pair. They aren't really two colours which are paired together very often. But there's an ongoing theory, which I've seen, is that because this region is based on the Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain and Portugal, if you don't know. It's not just Spain, apparently, and at least according to the map, there seems to be Portugal involved as well. I'm not sure how much is inspired by Portugal, because I'm not that knowledgeable about Spain and Portugal, so other people would certainly be able to fill in the blanks better than I can. But apparently, like, one of Spain's old flags or something used to have red and purple. It used to have like a red stripe at the top and a violet stripe at the bottom, so Scarlet and Violet. That's probably what it's named after, which is interesting. Like, I would have thought it's not like the craziest naming scheme. It doesn't really sort of tell you much about what possibly could be the ongoing sort of themes, I suppose, in Pokemon, you know, like Pokemon Black and White, you know, it was sort of just like the truth and ideals thing, and how morality is not always like so clear cut, and that sort of thing. That was like an ongoing theme of the story. I suppose Sword and Shield definitely gives us sort of like old legend feel. X and Y, I guess, is because it made it shift into 3D, and that's kind of it. Yeah, we got enough shells to sell. She sells seashells by the seashore. We need to make sure we go find some fossils so we can actually get them assessed. So I'm not really sure if it tells us much about what's going on in the story. And to be fair, we don't really know much. We've only got a little teaser about it's coming. We've seen some towns. I haven't really combed over the trailers. The only thing I've really combed over is for starters. Well, combed over is not really the right way, but because I think the starters are quite nice this time. This is a time where I've looked at all three starters and be like, I can feasibly see myself starting with any of them. You might be like, hey, what's your ranking of your personal ranking? I quite like Sprigatito as number 1. And then, what's his name? Coco... The fire one, the fire crocodile. Coco... Fuecoco. That sounds right? Because I think it's based off Fuego and Coco. And then, Quaxley is interesting, but it's not really my sort of vibe. Which is, you know, definitively fine, because it should be like... There should be 3 different sort of vibes going on with the Pokemon, so everyone has their own sort of one that they particularly latch onto and like. Anyway, we should definitely customise our net at some point as well, now I think about it, because it might be near breaking because of Festival yesterday. I was basically looking a lot at the starters because I often like to try and think about what they might evolve into, what they might be inspired by. I remember the Pokemon Sword and Shield one. The Scorbunny people were very certain that it was going to become was football based from very early on because Scorb in the name, and it looked like kind of an athlete. I don't know if Grookey particularly, if people got much from it apart from maybe that it might play with drums because it was kind of groove like, and did kind of end up playing with drums. And Sobble, I think people were way off on. They had no idea what it was going to become, which is fair enough because Sobble doesn't really tell much about the fact it's going to become like a secret service agent chameleon towards the end. It's you know how Pokemon is. Sometimes they give stuff away from the first evolution, the first stage of a Pokemon, and sometimes they don't. It's all very interesting. But certainly it's interesting in this one because there's not really that much information given out, I suppose, early on from these Pokemons. It's kind of hard to determine what these starters are going to be. And I've got my theories, and I've been reading about other people's theories to see what they think. So I guess we'll start with Sprigatito, where it's a combination of Sprig and Gatito. Gatito meaning like kitten, I believe, in Spanish, or small cat, because gato is cat, and ito is something you can add on to make something like diminutive, I suppose. And Sprig just being, like a general like branch or whatnot, relating to grass. So it doesn't actually give much away from its name, like Scorbunny does, about what it could be. It's a sort of generic grass-related thing, and its name is cat. I actually made like a little notepad about some of this because I've had some drawing ideas which might come to fruition at some point. Hold on, where did I put it? Well, I made notes basically because if you don't know, I can kind of speak Chinese and Japanese, so and I have a very passing knowledge in French. So I was like, you know what? Why don't we see what they're called in other languages? Because sometimes that can give like a deeper understanding of basically of like what sort of puns they might have used, what sort of like how they're described in other languages might give you like a different perspective. So interestingly, in English, Sprigatito is described as capricious and attention-seeking grass cat Pokemon, and I was like, whoa, that's interesting. Attention-seeking is a very strange word to use here, and capriciousness is not what I expected. I thought it would be very playful. And I guess it kind of is, but capricious, if you don't know, is sort of like they flip-flop mood-wise quite a lot. They can be happy, the next one very angry. I suppose, I think that's what capricious means. It's basically sort of, not unstable per se, but Google's got they're sort of like whimsical in that sort of sense. They're not very consistent. Fickle, yeah, inconstant. Unaccountable moods or change of behaviour, so yeah. The mood switches on a dime, essentially. And I was like, that's an interesting combination of capriciousness and attention-seeking. Now, amusingly, when I first saw attention-seeking, I thought it meant like social media, like attention-seeking. So I was like, is this going to be like a cat influencer is what it like evolves into? I'm like, that's a really weird thing. I don't understand how that works. And when I thought about it more, I was like, oh, it probably means attention-seeking, just like a cat, like a pet's attention-seeking. It just like constantly wants pets and that sort of thing. So I thought it was a very interesting combination. To me, it sounds like it's going to become like a very princess-like cat or something. It's going to be very pampered. It's going to be spoiled rotten, that sort of thing. It's going to be capricious. Capricious means, it's going to be like angry at you. It's basically going to be a spoiled brat of a cat, I think, is what it's going to evolve into. So then I started looking at the other languages. In French, it's called poussacha, which means it's a combination between pousser and chat, le chat. Pousser just meaning to grow, which is it's often used for plants as growing. A chat is just cat. Doesn't really give us much, and I don't think the description gave much, but I wasn't that confident in my French, so I didn't really stick with it. In Japanese, it's called nyao-ha, which is interesting, which I think is a combination of nyao and oha, or maybe nyao ao and ha, which basically just means meow and leaf, which is again not very enlightening. It doesn't really tell you much about it. It's just sort of like it's a grass cat, okay, but it's described as kimagure. I didn't write actually what kanji is for this, so I can't remember what this is off the top of my head, so I'm gonna have to actually open up Google Translate here so I can read it out to you because I didn't recognize this word. But kikamure is like whimsical. It's just like it's kind of like capricious, but it's much more like sort of floaty, magical, it gives me the impression of like head in the clouds sort of thing, which I was like, oh, interesting. Sorry, so what is this? Amai bona, which just means spoiled rotten. I don't know what bona actually means. Boy, and amai just means sweet, I think, or something like that. Javanese, no. So I was like, that definitely adds to the theory that this cat is just going to be utterly spoiled rotten, and it's very whimsical. So I don't know. Whimsical is a bit of a strange word for it. It gives off a different, like, because, you know, capricious and attention seeking tend to be quite, like, negative associated words. You know, attention seeking, certainly, and capricious is sort of just like, it's not, like, necessarily as negative, doesn't have as strong a negative connotation, but it's more like, it's not, like, completely good. Well, whimsical just feels very fantasy and magical, like. So now I'm just thinking it's going to become, like, a sort of fantasy, fairy princess cat, basically, which I'm like, this is unexpected. I'm all here for it. Because it, you know, sort of leans into aesthetics I like. Well, there's lots of aesthetics I like, I suppose. So I'm like, okay, so we're going to get this spoiled brat of a cat. And then in Chinese, which again, I can't read this out, hold on. It's Xing Zhi Mao. Xing Ye Mao, sorry, not Xing Zhi Mao. Which is just like new. And then yeah is leaf. And meow is just cat. Oh, also technically meow, I guess, because it's not using the actual word for cat, it's using the word for meow, which, you know, whatever. I don't know why I'm saying this. Oh, I was meant to get gift wrap, that's what I'm here for. Which I thought was interesting. And you know, this is one I luckily can ask my parents to see what they think of it as native Chinese speakers. And, you know, I thought it was a combination of xing xing, which is xingxi, which just means like fresh and sort of like trending, kind of. But my parents, they read it and they were just like, oh, it basically just means new. That's basically the only, like, even if it's a combination, its only association really is a word new. So it's sort of just like new leaf cat, whatever that means. And of course, it's described as, let me read this out for you. 随心所欲, 所欲有缘下交. So 随心所欲 just sort of means like it does whatever it wants, you know. It follows what its hearts wants, but not in like a laid back way. It's sort of just like, I'm going to do what I want, sort of way is what I got from it. And yuan sai jiao is just like spoiled rotten, kind of. Interestingly, Google translates this as coquettish, which I'm not. Coquettish is more like flirtatious, isn't it? Which is a bit of a weird description for a cat. But it's sort of just like when my parents described it, it's just like, imagine like a young child, a young girl just being like, oh, and you know, your young daughter or something, you'd be like, oh, it's bedtime, sweetie, and then you would go, it's like, oh, can I stay up a little longer, please? That sort of thing. You know, and they do like puppy dog eyes, so that's how they describe this cat. So, you know, it sort of seems like to me it's very much influenced by basically a cat which is going to be spoiled rotten and is going to be very showy and flashy, I think, later on. Because the fresh things is interesting. In Chinese, because I interpreted it as it basically meaning it's sort of trending and it's up to date. So, you know, maybe it actually is going to be like a social media cat. I don't know. Anyway, I'm very interested in it. So yeah, I think it's going to be like a pampered cat, essentially. Then we've got Fuecoco. Fuecoco is actually like not much to say. It's made from fuego and cocodrilo, which is fire and crocodile in Spanish. I guess we'll do exercises. And he's a laid-back fire croc Pokemon that does things at his own pace. So he's a bit like, perhaps a little bit slow in the uptake, but he's like chill, he's like totally relaxed and that sort of thing. Design-wise, he seems to be based off a stuffed chili pepper, which, you know, I didn't actually write this down. The stuffed chili pepper has a name, I honestly can't remember off the top of my head, so I apologise. That at least seems to be the sort of character design we're going for. In French, it's chochodile, which seems to be based off chaud, which means hot, and crocodile, which is crocodile, so, you know, not much aligning there. In Japanese, it's hogeta, which, you know, that one I actually struggled with. I actually had to search on Twitter, basically, just being like, I don't know what this is a combination of. I thought it was meant to be hot and geta, but apparently it's meant to be ho, which stands for, like, hot as well, I suppose, like burning. Or maybe just fire, I can't remember. And its description is non bilia de my pesna. Now, my pace, I do know, my pace is sort of like they have their own sort of way of doing things, and they're sort of like, they're basically not eccentric, kind of, in an unconventional way. If you, I don't know, if you've watched Nichijou, it's like Mai's very my pace. She kind of does like, she's got like her own world she's living in and that sort of thing, is what I understand about that. I don't know, non-bilia just means relaxed, I think, so I don't really know about that. So they're all just basically pointing down to like, this guy's chill as heck and he's like in his own little world, basically. But not like in a Cloud Cuckoo Land or like Head in a Cloud sort of way, just sort of like does things as he desires, but he's got like a much more low energy version than Spaghettito has. The Chinese one, I can't remember this off the top of my head, something. dai huo e, which just means dead crocodile apparently, but it's just no. It means like dai just means like slow-witted, I suppose. Sort of just like not with it entirely, like slow but uptake is probably the way to put it. So slow fire crocodile is what I described it as, and in Chinese, hold on, described as 有人自在，有我行我素。有人自在 just means like very leisurely, very relaxed, it's sort of like real calm, real chill sort of vibes. And 我行我素 just means basically do things my way. It's basically the same as my pace apparently. So, you know, as my parents described it, they're sort of just like, they're very notable for the fact that they do things very differently compared to everyone else. And not like they kind of don't follow like society's rules and that sort of thing. They're just like, well, you know, not like necessarily a rule breaker per se, but just sort of to subscribe to like norms and that sort of thing. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, I like the personality on this one. So I don't really know what's gonna be based off motif-wise, because all later Pokemon and later generations all have very strong motifs and that sort of thing. And if it's based off a stuffed chili pepper, I'm not really sure. So I guess it's gonna have that sort of chili. Maybe it's gonna be like a fire-breathing alligator later on. And it's going to be really relaxed, like sort of Snorlax sort of vibes, just constantly sleeping. I don't really know, or chill, or just like not really bothered by anything. I don't know. Anyway, the most interesting one is Quaxley, because Quaxley is like, what's that based off of? My initial hunch was it was based off Quack and Wax, and then Lee is just sort of like for added cuteness. Because obviously the main part of it is he's got like this big old hairdo. So I was like, oh, maybe it's like hair wax or that sort of thing. So maybe he's based off someone who's going to be like a very prim and proper sort of like hairdresser, I don't know, duck in the future. I saw some people saying that he's based on I don't know how you say it, Don Quixote? that dude who, you know, is like Spanish and that sort of thing. I was like, oh, interesting, I don't really know much about him. So if he is completely fair enough, we are going to... What can we do in the last like 4 minutes? I guess we'll craft some coconut things. So, oh, that's interesting. He's an earnest and tidy Pokemon, which to me just sort of seems like he might become some sort of military person. Like earnest, I was like, hold on, how? Unless I have a wrong definition of earnest, it's like, this seems like a very strange one to use. Oh, serious and serious-minded. Oh, earnest always, like, just, I thought it meant honest. Humorless, grave. Sincere. Okay, never mind. Apparently I just didn't know what earnest meant. Which is the importance of being earnest. So he's very serious and tidy, so it gave me sort of like, maybe he's going to be like a military, like admiral, sort of like vibes. I don't really know. Maybe that's what the hat is. In French he's called coiffeton, which is coif, and caneton, which is, coiffe is like a certain type of hat. I don't know if it's what type of hat in particular it is. Francais. Coiffe. If it's a particular, it's a special type of hat. I thought it was based on coiffure, which is, I thought it just meant hair, but, or just like your usual sort of coif. Can be used to describe your hair. And Caneton just means duck, so, you know, it's not that enlightening, I suppose. Or a little bit enlightening, because, you know, it's got a big focus on its hat and that sort of thing, which, it didn't before the English name, so, The Japanese one is called Kawasu, which is, I was like, what? This is clearly quack and something. But I don't know. Apparently the su ending can be... I can't remember what it was used for, but no, it gave off a certain impression. I don't remember, but some sort of like... It's the same thing as Lee, makes it sound more proper and posh, I suppose. That's what su is. And he's described as... Hajime deki... Wait. Hajime de kirei sukina. Hajime just means very sort of serious and basically earnest. I kind of exactly the same definition. Well, not exactly, but... Hajime sort of means like serious, like hardworking, sort of like does things properly, like that sort of thing. And kirei sukina just means like pretty things, or likes things being clean in this case. So yeah, he likes things being perfectly tidy and clean. So I thought that meant that basically he wants his hair to always be sleek and perfectly on point at all times. I don't know, or maybe he's just like a military commander. You know, they always want their places to be clean. In Chinese, he's called, I can't remember what this is. Run shui ya. Run is just like moisture, apparently. It's like when things are kind of moist and wet. It can also be used in a combination of something. Oh, I actually have it written here. Run something, which can mean sleek. Runs. Which apparently can also mean sleek. So, you know, sleek, wet water duck. And, in Chinese, described as something. Aiganjing. Let's see. Shingaranjun. Your Aiganjing. Shingaranjun just means they have a very serious character, and Aiganjing just means they love things to be clean. So, you know, it's kind of the same sort of description. So I was like, I don't really know what this is based off of. This might be something much more Spanish based if it's based on Don Quixote, which I don't really know all much about, to be perfectly honest. But if I'm going to guess it, it's going to be some sort of water-based admiral, like Navy admiral, or something in the future. So, I don't know. There's my predictions of what it's going to be. A spoiled, rotten princess, grass cat, some really chill, laid-back, maybe even chubby, I don't know, crocodile, and an admiral duck who wants things to be prim and proper. Oh, what do I think the typings are going to be? I'm guessing grass fairy. I'm not sure about fire. I can see fire poison. That might be interesting. Fire. I'm not really sure. Fire bug would be interesting. I'm not sure what chili peppers really have to do it. It might just be pure fire, to be honest. And then water. I'm thinking water steel, but I can see water fighting as well. Both seem very plausible if it's going to be like a military combatant. But there you go. I don't know. Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet. I'm interested to see what's gonna happen. I'm more interested to see basically what final evolutions of those Pokemon are going to be like. And I suppose we'll be having to wait a couple of months until we find out. But for now, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Join my Dear Darling Discord, follow me on Twitter down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now. Just as the hour turns.